relaxing hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome here to
I love it.
Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, ABC, NBC News Radio, CNBC, and NBC Sports. You're tuned into AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Audible, Tiki Live, Rumble, and more. And I am your host, Dr. Marissa, your hashtag positively opinionated host. And this is a show about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K words, no Kardashian talk at all. In fact, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have topics and guests to that. And if you've missed any of my past 761 shows, but who's counting over the last 9 years and 363 consecutive weeks, please do go to my YouTube channel, free subscribe there, and you'll get all those shows as well as some fun interviews. I was just backstage with the Temptations a month ago. Halle Berry, John Travolta, all of those things. So also, I want to let you know that because I am now streaming on StreamYard, you can also chat and interact with me every weekday morning at 8 a.m. after the news. And to do that, you go to my Facebook, both my page and my profile live. But best of all would be the YouTube channel. That is a free subscribe, Dr. Marissa Pay. Just Google Asian Oprah and YouTube, or Dr. Marissa YouTube, and you'll be able to go there and chat. And this morning, it's especially interesting because I want you to come and chat with my guest, who is coming in studio now. We had a little issue with sound, so hopefully we fixed that. Ernest, welcome to the show. Okay, he still can't hear me. So I'm going to, I can hear him. So we're going to ask him to go out and come back in. So let's do that. This is, technology is wonderful when it works. And then it's a little challenging when it doesn't. I did message him, but I'm not sure if he heard that. But let's see. Polly, do you have access to your to Facebook or anything like that? Liz, if you're listening, Gwen, if you're listening, if you could, I didn't get a phone number for Ernest. If you could have him come back in to the studio using the same link, we'll see if we can fix it that way, because he was fine when he came in beforehand, and he already has a fan that's waiting for him to come in. But in the meantime, hello, Easter Gun. Thank you for tuning in, and I do see eyeballs, and you can go ahead and put your comments on the chat. We're going to start with the gratitude sandwich this morning, which is a way that I try to get you to start your day in the most positive way. And as we're doing that, we're hoping that Ernest will be able to come back in, and then I'll explain how I found Ernest and what we're trying to do today as I approach the balanced look at suicide part 2. So that is our topic today. And we are going to expand and continue a topic that we did yesterday that I'll tell you the story of how that all happened. So I'll start. My gratitudes are all going to be wrapped around this story. So what happened was last Friday, a person jumped off of the 14th floor and of my building, and he committed suicide. And it was a very difficult day for people that saw him in the building. And what happened after that was, the shock, and the ambulance and everybody came, and the whole tragedy around suicide came up, and was realizing that it's not something that people talk about. We don't like talking about it. It's a dark topic. If we do talk about it, it's usually to shake our head and say, why did this happen? It shouldn't have happened. How could someone do that? And then there's the really dark side where, and I admitted yesterday that unfortunately it's a common BS belief system that when a person commits suicide, especially if you're part of any kinds of religion that say that that is a sin and you're going to hell and purgatory, and that's the worst evil you can do is to take your own life. And then other people who judge and say things like, it's the most selfish and most uncourageous or weak thing to do. You hurt people around you that love you, and how could you do that? And that is pretty much, as I put the moose on the table, as I usually do, which is my Canadian version of talking about the elephant in the room. It's an angry, judgmental, horrific way to look at suicide. And then on the other hand, if it's someone close to you who did that, you have feelings of guilt, you have feelings of remorse, you have feelings of anger. How could you do this? So there's this very angry, dark, infectious, non-happy, and my show's about hope and happiness, no hope topic. And so I didn't want to talk about this. I have this voice, I call him my UPS man, my universal power source, that delivers every morning when I pray and meditate. And it said, talk about this on the show. And I'm like, no. I do not want to talk about this. This is like way too big of a topic. And, it's very delicate and sensitive and provocative. And, I don't like pissing people off. And if you have strong belief systems around this, I don't want to get into that. And the voice gets very insistent. That's how this show started 9 years ago. And it just said, no, you have to talk about this. And I'm like, no, don't want to talk about it at all. I'm going to, you're going to have to prove it to me. This will all die down with the jumper off the building, and in time it'll settle, and we'll sort of just smooth it over. And I don't need to talk about this on the show. It's a show about hope and happiness. How could I be talking about suicide? And the voice said, you talk about solution. And and he's right. I do talk about solution. I want to talk about solution, not just the problem. And so I said, okay, I make deals with my UPS man. And I said, if you really want me to talk about suicide, you're going to have to prove it to me. 2 minutes later, popped up on my feed the story of Lindsay, the actress from Empire, that it came out that it was ruled suicide, that she was found a month ago in her car. And I thought, no, that's like coincidence. That's really not. So I was at an event where there were 7 speakers. So I made another deal that night and said, if one of the speakers talks about suicide, I will do it. And I made it through 6 speakers, and they were the main speakers. And I thought, that's fine. The last speaker said his close family member just committed suicide. So I'm like, ah! So yesterday I did that show on suicide, and thank you so much. I had so much love come from that. And I thought, okay, I did my job. I really don't need to talk about this anymore. And then the guest that I was supposed to have on was not returning the call. So I'm like, okay, so flexibility, backup guest, what's going to happen? And I just happened to look at my messages, which I rarely do on Facebook. Rarely do. And pops up Gwen, who I didn't even really know where I knew her from, had sent me a message to vote for someone who is in a singing competition. And I don't have a lot of musicians on my show. And said, vote for him. He's a friend of mine. He's in this competition that actually supports the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. I'm like, oh, Lord Almighty. It looks like I'm doing part 2. And this is pretty late last night. I was over at my bonus mom and dad's. Our Tuesday night, we watch America's Got Talent. So I messaged Gwen and said, what are the chances your friend wants to come on the show tomorrow morning? And one thing led to another. And guess who is my guest today? And let me give him the proper, hopefully we'll get him this time when he comes on and gives me his voice. Literally. Let's try it. We're hoping that, Ernest, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh my God. And you can hear me. Don't say anything. Ernest Washington is a national recording artist and songwriter. He was born in St. Louis, Missouri. No, I'm just kidding. Where he studied classical and jazz music. He now resides in Denver, Colorado, and continues his music career. Please welcome to my studio, Ernest Washington. Welcome, Ernest.
Hello. I can hardly hear you. I don't know if it's my side or your side.
Unfortunately, I think it's your side. So just turn whatever. Did you go to? Don't touch the settings. Last time it completely.
I'm going to try to bring my volume up. Bear with me.
Okay. I can hear you fine. So can you hear me? Okay. We're going to do this another way so you can actually hear me.
How about now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yay.
I guess that what's work, right? That works better.
Whatever.
But I want to hear your beautiful voice. I want to hear what you're saying.
Well, you will. Just do a sound check here. Polly, can you hear both of us well? Yeah. Perfect.
I'm sorry.
My sound engineer says that he can hear both of us on the feed. So that is the best thing. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Slightly.
Slightly.
I guess I'm going to have to go with slightly.
Slightly is better than nothing.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to turn my volume up on this side too. Does that help at all?
Is there something I can do on my side?
At this point, no, because we haven't.
The point of no return.
Yes, exactly. Now the good thing is, Just Z says she can hear us both. So the only one that's not hearing perfectly is you. So I apologize, but I talk all the time, so we're good. It's more important that I hear from you. So here we go. Ernest Washington is in a competition. Well, that is called Opening Act.
The Opening Act.
Perfect. And let's go back before we talk about that. You are a singer-songwriter,
Yes.
and you did you think when you were a kid that you would be a singer-songwriter?
Well, Dr. Marissa, let me tell you a little story about that. I sang, but I didn't sing. I wanted to be a professional drummer. So I was a drummer for years, and grade school I would sing, and my grade school principal asked me to make a promise to her that when I get into high school, I would join the concert choir. At the time, I thought the choir was not cool. I don't want to join no choir. But I was always taught by my mother that if you give an adult your word, you keep your word. So I joined the band class instead, and then they had auditions for the choir. And the teacher by the name of Mr. Walter Young is actually still in my life. He's like a father to me today. He's 88 years old. And he lives in St. Louis, Missouri still. So long story short, they announced that the state champion Central High School choir is holding auditions for singers. So I go, okay, well, I gave my word, so let me go try out. So the line was like, oh God, it was like an hour to even get auditioned. And so I stayed in the line. It was my turn finally to get auditioned. And Mr. Young was just taken by my vocals. Here's a guy that's wearing 130 pounds, and I had a voice like a 400-pound man, you know. And so he was so amazed by it. He immediately stopped the audition, went down to the office and pulled me out of the choir, out of the band class. And I was the first freshman ever to get a solo in the state champion Central Concert Choir. I had the opportunity to sing with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra as well. I represented the state of Missouri in the NAACP Olympics. So I had a musical scholarship for classical opera, but I fell in love with R&B and jazz.
Do you remember your audition piece?
I beg your pardon?
Do you remember what your audition piece was?
Well, what he auditioned me with, it was just singing scales, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And he wanted to find out why I was a baritone tenor. So it was my voice, the tone of my voice and the power of my voice allowed him to put me in the choir. But
all right, so I want to hear that. I want to hear the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And if you could put your
you want to hear the do, re, mi, fa, la, ti, do?
I do.
All right, here we go. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re. There you go.
That is a pretty big voice. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so you sing, you've performed. What you don't know is I'm a retired lounge lizard. And I used to sing semi-professionally.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. And then my father got wind of it and flew down from Canada and said, you've wanted a PhD from the time you were 5 years old. You're a good singer, but you're not that good. And there are a lot of people who are dying to be musicians, and you know, you're not one of them. So get your PhD and you can always do music later. So I'm trying to think of
Dr. Marissa, come on now. We got to hear you sing, right?
Well, I was trying to think of a song that wouldn't get a copyright hit and we could do as a duet. So
there you go.
I'm not sure. We'll think of it. Maybe people in the chat can suggest something that we can do Acapulco without any background music, so we don't get a hit. But anyway,
absolutely.
So tell me about this competition.
The opening act is a competition that is again for songwriters and vocalists. The opening act is an organization that supports the American Prevention of Suicide, and they are raising the competition is for people to vote for artists like myself and the other people who are in the competition. It is for a great cause. It's for the artists like myself get a chance to win $10,000 and get to travel to the Hollywood Bowl to perform in front of 17,000 people. With such great artists and celebrities like Coldplay, Black Eyed Peas, just to name a few. They have a different lineup this year. They have not announced the new lineup yet, but it's a great opportunity for a songwriter and singer, original singers, for original songwriters and singers and recording artists such as myself who are trying to make it to the next level. And so I'm pretty excited about that. And I'm in the group finals and I'm pushing to be in the finals. And then there's a wild card round. So I'm asking everyone not just to support me, but the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. It is a great cause. The president was talking a couple of weeks ago, if I could add, there's 17 veterans on an average daily that commit suicide. So when I really start researching the suicide prevention of America, I really got more passion about this contest. And just to be able to be a part of something that's so amazing that is helping different countries and cities to awareness of what's going on. A lot of people don't know that is a big mental health problem in America today and around the world, actually. So to be a part of that is amazing. I also, as you can see behind me on my wall, I do a breast cancer concert every year. I commit my time to doing concerts for breast cancer awareness. So it touches my heart to be a part of something again. So touching to other people. I know a friend of mine had told me that their brother committed suicide, sister committed suicide, and we don't know how tough it is out there. And I think we've all, if I could say, had some struggles in our lives and things like that crossed our mind. And some of us was very strong to kind of fight through it, and some of us wasn't. And so to bring awareness to it, to make people understand that when people, your friends and loved ones or family members are stressed out, we really need to pay more attention to them and not just saying that they're being a heavy in our lives. So yes, I know I'm a little long-winded, Dr. Marissa, but I just want.
No worries. No worries. Yeah, you met your match here. But I just wanted to.
I know that's right.
I just wanted to read here. American Foundation for Suicide Prevention is dedicated to saving lives and bringing hope to those affected by suicide. The foundation creates a culture that's smart about mental health through education and community programs, develops suicide prevention through suicide prevention through research and advocacy, and provides support for those affected by suicide. And so it was a perfect segue for part two. It brought that solution focus. I'm sure there are other foundations and places that are addressing. In fact, let's do that now. This is something that I like to do, is do research on the air. So suicide, I'm going to type in here, suicide prevention organizations. And I'm sure, there's the Megan Meir Foundation. There's the Alliance of Hope organization. There is AOAFallen.org, Pikes Peak Suicide Prevention. So there's just so many. The National Organization, SAMHSA. So I do this because we talk about the problem so much. We we are reticent sometimes to look at solution. And what I wanted us to do was to focus on solution today. And
Absolutely.
the interesting thing, not only are you in this competition that supports American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, Gwen, whose message hit me, and it's funny too because I
She's a
really
wonderful soul, isn't she? Yes.
she is, and I didn't even know how I knew her. I mean, I'm grateful. I have a lot of people who support me that have seen me on stage speaking or on the book tour or whatever it is. She happens to enjoy me as a singer in the Agape International Choir. And then to make matters even more clear on why I'm addressing this on my show is she also has a sister who committed suicide. So I was like, oh, well, we definitely need to talk about this. But I wanted to come back to a point that you made. And the reason why Gwen can't be was she's popping in and out. She's doing this wonderful thing with her organization and feeding some people in Colorado. Oh, she's popped in right now. Thank you for talking about this and resources for suicide prevention and Agape Love. That's where we met. So I wanted to come back to something you said, Ernest, that was really important that I spoke about yesterday as well, to highlight that it's not something that only affects a few. That I would venture that a large majority of us who have gone through places in life where we've had relationships that don't work or something happened to us that was very painful. I'm one of the 7 out of 10 of us who've had childhood trauma. And I remember after every beating that I got, I would sit on my bed and rock on my bed and say, let me die, let me die. God, let me die, let me die. The pain is too much. The pain is too much. I remember going through my very difficult divorce where I lost everything materially, a house, business, had to fight for custody. It was a horrific time. And there was several times where I'm driving down the 405 and I felt like turning in to the middle divider. So, and I'm an organizational psychologist. I'm a person who talks about hope and happiness. I wasn't always this way. So before we judge people who are in so much mental anguish that they cannot deal with that level of pain in their life, that they are driven to what they do to take their life, that it's not useful for us to call them selfish. It is not useful for us to say that they're weak, because in that moment, I know that I felt that we can have some compassion, that level of pain, which you may have tasted a little bit, may be even more magnified in them. Does that make sense?
It does. Absolutely.
Gwen says, I'm with you. And certainly, I also was talking about people who have lost people to suicide. Do you know someone that you were close to that committed suicide? Ernest?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Are you like when you have someone in your family that committed suicide?
No, I haven't. I haven't had. I've been fortunate in my family, my immediate family. I haven't had anyone that has committed suicide.
Okay, so let me just put something down for Gwen, who has had a sister, and the family that I helped, who also lost a father who hung himself. He was a stay-at-home dad in the preschool. That because of what they went through, because of what you, Gwen, went through, because of anyone who has had a family member commit suicide, you are in a unique position to help other people who are going through that pain. Mm-hmm. So pain in life is mandatory. Suffering is optional. And that is so important for us all to understand that in one sense, yeah, we're fortunate. And in the other sense, people who have suffered that kind of pain are in a fortunate position to help others who are going through that pain. And that's why I love organizations that take something that has happened to them and turn it into a way to help others because they understand. And that is, Fran Drescher came on to talk about how to prevent cancer because of what she went through. Right. So there's pain in life. There's a reason for it. It doesn't make us broken in the sense that it doesn't make us less than. It makes us more than. We are in that position. If you have depression, you can understand someone who is so sad that you know what to say in a way that I don't, because I don't know what it's like. If you have some mental illness and you have found ways in which to cope and thrive in spite of it, you're in a unique position to help others who are going through that. So I would suggest as another tool for anyone who's feeling hopeless and helpless, when you go to these organizations, they're not organizations that are telling you what you're doing wrong. Most of the time, these organizations are started by people who have been through that. Listen to their stories. One of the greatest things about AA is the ability to help people, because you're not telling them what's wrong with them. You're just sharing with them what has happened to them, which identifies and then helps the other person. I think in life, that is one of the most beautiful things about pain in life, that it sculpts us and makes us who we are so that we can help other people. And we lost Ernest again, but I'm sure he'll come back on. If you have any comments about anything that I'm saying, if you have any questions, please do go to the chat. Thank you for the thumbs up and the hearts that are coming in. We're going to take a quick break and come back to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa and singer-songwriter Ernest Washington. We're going to find out how exactly to support him. He's currently in 4th place, but we're going to try to get him into 1st place. So come back on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
To the world was exploring the world. What if the question, what do you want to be when you grow up, little girl, turns into how many streets of life you want to explore? What if the purpose of life is not to die with the most toys to leave our squabbling relatives? What if the purpose of life was to do things that we enjoy most of the time? Have relationships that we enjoy most of the time, and use our unique talents, gifts, and abilities to fully express in the dash between birth and death. What if, as a direct result of this horrible pandemic, we could rise out of the ashes with the new PPP, post-pandemic possibilities? The sooner you turn "it's impossible" to "I'm possible," the what ifs become possible too. Because you are loving, lovable, and loved, wrapped in a warm blanket of worthiness. But it may start with getting out of bed and making it. What if starts with
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and my YouTube channel, where if you free subscribe, you can get an alert every morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time that there's more hope and happiness dropping. As well, you can get on my YouTube channel my red carpet playlist with interviews with Halle Berry, John Travolta, Quincy Jones. I keep forgetting if it's Dennis. I'm the worst media person with names. I have to admit that to you. But the beloved Lieutenant Uhura Nichelle Nichols, who just passed, I have a couple of interviews with her, as well as the Temptations I mentioned before, and the late night host, Jimmy Fallon, I think is the one that I interviewed. There's two Jimmys. So would you go check that out? And today, I'm so delighted. We're going to try one more time to get him and the sound to work. I have in studio with me, Ernest Washington. Let's get you some more. He's a singer. He's a singer-songwriter.
Oh, you sound much better.
Okay, I sound much better, and you sound a little harsh with the sound, but we'll just.
Okay, I'll back up. If I keep it a little lower, how's that?
That's we got it done before the end of the show. Yay! That's awesome.
There we go. Oh, lovely.
So the good news about technology is it's phenomenal when it works, and the bad news is
I agree.
Sucks a giant donut when it doesn't. But the most important thing is we got you on, and you. Before we go any further, I want to make sure that people know how to support you. So the way this works, as I understand it, is in order to vote for you, you get to donate to the National Foundation, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And that's a brilliant way to support, because you're doing something for an organization that does provide education and support and help for those who are experiencing temporary feelings of hopelessness, so that they can realize how loving, lovable, and loved they actually are, and that they're wrapped in a warm blanket of worthiness, and they have a place to talk and get through that temporary pain. So how do we vote for? Thank you. How do we vote for you?
Well, there's a link on my Facebook, and I've also posted on Instagram. There's a link that they hit, and that will take them right to the voting panel. $10 of the paid vote really puts a big impact on helping the American Suicide Prevention and raising money. And as well, it puts me in a position of winning the contest. So I am competing against other songwriters and artists as well. So I'm asking for there's free votes and then there's paid votes. But again, the paid votes is for great and outstanding cause. Again, they had a 2-for-1 yesterday. If you sow $10, you're actually sowing $20. It doubles that. They have it every other day. But in the meantime, the paid votes is a bigger impact for the cause, and also to help me be able to win the contest to travel to the Hollywood Bowl again to perform in front of 17,000 people and be able to chance to meet and perform with great artists like Coldplay and Black Eyed Peas, and just to name a few.
That is really amazing, and how exciting. And you're in fourth. And as you
and third.
You're in third now.
Dr. Marissa, don't be putting me fourth.
Hey, it said fourth yesterday. Don't be throwing any shade on me right now.
I'll let you go watch it, buddy. Watch it.
So I pulled up your Facebook, and I know it got to third instead of fourth because you started and you have great friends who started putting me on your feed. So we just know that's how you went to third. I'll take a little credit. But I'm going to
go with that, Dr. Marissa. I'm going to go with that one.
And I just killed off a friend on mine because I'm at limit to request a friend request from you. So you can do that. And then if you go look down the page, I'm looking for that link is right. Let's see. You should pin it at the top of your thing, doll. Is it pinned there?
It's a pin there. It should be at the top.
See it.
Well, hold on. Where's that thing? You're strolling very well. Go ahead. Stroll. You're pretty good with this.
I do my best. Okay. So, what you can do is go to Ernest Washington. And don't try to put in George Washington, because that's what I did yesterday. Couldn't find you. On Instagram, Ernest Washington is Sing
EW on Instagram. Yes.
On Instagram. Sing EW on Instagram. So I'm going to ask you to put that in the chat, or one of your friends can put that in the chat right now so that they can support you. And honestly, if you are a person who just shakes your head when you hear of a suicide and say, oh, that's horrible and that's too bad, and that's all you do, you now have the opportunity to do more than that.
Absolutely.
I've already looked at that organization. It gets Dr. Marissa's endorsement. So you can do two things at once. You can support, and by the way, yes, there are other singers. And this morning when I was getting ready for the show, I'm like, oh boy, I better go look at that list. And I hope there's none of my other friends on there, because they will kill my
That's right. That's right.
But you are my new friend because of Gwen.
I'm happy to be your new friend.
Long-time supporter of my work. So I am absolutely happy to support you. I'm going to go give you some paid votes when we're done, and support you and see if we can't get him to the top of the list, because life is too short not to sing. And he's owning his talent. He says, I have a God-given gift. And I love the fact that you know who you are and what, and that's the thing, is that who was that said the biggest shame in life is not expressing yourself and your unique talent, gift, and ability. And probably my big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith, and he saw. That's why he's my big brother. He saw into me and saw who I was before I did. And so here's another thing. Any of you who think your life is not important, that's BS. It's a belief system that's keeping you trapped in arguing for your limitations. And I'm not saying that you don't feel like you're worthless. You know, I can't imagine anyone feeling that worthless that they would take their life, but it happens. And those letters that I read yesterday, suicide notes, the common theme was, I can't do this. I'm weak. I can't do this. It's too painful. It's too much anguish. And I'm here to tell you, don't leave before the miracle happens. Every single one of us, 7.3 billion of us on the planet, have a unique talent, gift, and ability. Everyone, there's not a throwback in the bunch.
There you go.
Every drop of water in the ocean is unique. Every blade of grass, every leaf on a tree, every grain of sand. And that means you and me, boo. Every single one of us. So I had someone write on yesterday's that she feels like this all the time. I invited her. I'm going to set up a coaching session with her, a laser coaching session on on the air. So Gwen's like, she wants to sing with both of us, but you know, I would ask that every single one of us, especially, you know, I heard this, it's going to sound a little harsh, and if you have felt that everyone else, and I got this actually from one of my past guests, Edwene Gaines. She said, if you feel like everyone else is fixable, but not you, if you feel like everyone else is forgivable and not you, if you feel like you are somehow, you missed any opportunity that everybody else got, she said that that's actually pride in reverse. And it was like, ooh, that's strong. Why do you think you're special in such a negative way? Drop the mic. You know, I was like, wow. But, you know, she also says that people who say, you know, I'm unhappy and I hate my life because I didn't get a fair start when I was young and my mother treated me badly and mine called me fat, ugly, and clumsy, or my mom wasn't nice to me. She's supposed to be my best friend. She's supposed to be my biggest supporter. I used to say that. And she said to me, ready? Your mother's only job was to pop you out. The rest is gravy. I was like, woo. And so this is a little tough love. If you think you got the short end of the stick in life, guess what? You're the majority. 7 out of 10 of us had some kind of childhood trauma. And if you're using that as an excuse to stay unhappy and stay unworthy and stay with a habit of believing that you're not good enough, I got 2 words for you. Stop it. And I know that it's not that simple. I know that I don't know. I was told by a psychologist that I should have clinical depression. I don't know what that's like. But I do know that there is help, that there are many ways in which you can feel better. And that has always been my absolute hope, is that everyone feels as good as they possibly can, that they're 88% happy. That's my goal. Not 100% happy. If you're 100% happy, you're dead. I don't want dead people walking or talking. I want you happy 88% of the time. All right. So we have here Esther. It says, singing you for Instagram. Thank you, Esther, for doing that. It is in the chat. Let's see. Gwen saying, I'm not sure. I'll go with this one. Well said. All right. So the website is called Opening Act. And you can go there and see all the big news. When is the date of the actual Hollywood Bowl thing?
Well, the final for the competition to be over it ends September 15th. So the competition will go until September 15th. Again, they have the group finals. I'm in the group finals now. The group finals ends actually tomorrow, and whoever wins that goes to the finals. And then from the finals, they go to the big competition, and from there, so we have 2 more rounds after the group finals.
Oh wow! So this is like a stage by stage thing. So
yeah,
how many make it? How many make it into the group final? Just one?
Just one.
Ooh, so we got to get you to first place. You're currently in third. We got to get
you.
I thought maybe top 10 or top 5, and you were like, cool, but no. Okay. So everybody go to Facebook, Ernest Washington, or
there's a link
Instagram, IG, or just put your name down here, and Gwen Moore will message you.
And
the
also,
way that she messaged me.
She will also send the message out as well as Gwen. They're both wonderful souls. I appreciate them.
Yes, Esther is definitely a fan of yours and wonderful supporter, and that's what life's about. So, that anything else that you would like to add?
You know what I would love to do for the listeners and the people out there who are struggling, might be having some mental health problems with this year, because again, this is a great cause. I don't know if it's okay with you, but I would like to dedicate a song to them, if that's okay.
Wonderful, except you only have 1.5 minutes. Go.
So I was going to play, I got 1.5 minutes. So it goes, it's 1 in a million. Love has played its games on me so long. I started to believe I'd never find anyone. Doubted, tried to convince me to give in. Said you can win. But one day the sun came shining through. The rain had stopped and the skies were blue. But oh, revelation to see. Someone was saying, I love you to me. Oh, 1 in a million. Chance of a lifetime. And life show compassion and send to me a stroke of luck. Call you. Thank you, Dr. Marissa.
Beautiful. We're gonna. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live from my living room with Ernest Washington. Go vote for him. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. We'll see you tomorrow with co-host Sam Works. Have the best day ever.